Hello everybody, this is Oksana Rudko and this is my brand of knitted bags La Accessory. In this video lesson I'm going to tell you how to make such a stylish trendy bag, Madlen, and it would be made of polyester flat cord 5mm. Now I'll show you how it looks. I have already one complete work finished. Here I made it in such a pattern that is quite thick and it keeps the shape, and at the same time it's not too hard, so it's pleasant to the touch, and it will consist, as you see, of front part, then likewise back side, and then we will make sides and bottom, which will be joined here in the middle of the bottom. It will be side plus half of the bottom on both sides. Also, I'll tell you how to add such reverses into the knitted bag, how to make trimming around the bag, how to join all the pieces together, how to sew the magnetic button, and how to insert the lining here. I don't have the lining yet, but I will tell you how to make and sew in the lining. I'll show you how to sew in the lining so that you cannot see the seam, to make it seamless almost. So let's speak about the size. On top here, its width is 30 centimeters approximately, bottom is a little bit wider, 33. Here in the middle it's up to 42 centimeters, height is 32 centimeters. Now the depth, if we have a look here onto the bottom, on this wider part, it is 14 centimeters, depending on the gauge, because we all have different gauge and the size might be also different. I have used here leather handle. I used double-sided handle. It has 3 centimeters in width, and its length without the lobster clasps is 50 centimeters, and together with these clasps they have 4 centimeters in diameter. But here really you can use any kind of handle. You can use bigger or smaller clasps, so here it's up to you. So now I'll tell you about the materials that you'll need for such a bag, and we'll start our work. So to make this bag we will need flat cord, polyester cord 5mm in width. I'll tell you how it looks. So it's very important that it is flat and it has such texture that it can be stretched, you see, and this is important because this will influence a lot the amount of the yarn you need. So I tell this because if, for example, you take some other cord, maybe that is very similar, but it will not stretch and its width might be different, you will use different amount of material and the bag will look different, and the amount of the skeins you will need will be different. So if you are using different yarn, you can use it a little bit more. So I will need 4 skeins, each has 1.5 meters, so I have used approximately 400 meters, but depending on the gauge you might have to use a bit more or less. So approximately 4 skeins, 104 meters each. Then you will need some reverses. You will need 4 of them. Here they have such build, so 2 pieces, they are joined with these little screws. I'll show you how inserted when we will be making the handle. And also you will need a magnetic button. I'll tell you how to sew it, it's really easy, just like a button. And you will need a leather handle if you like. I don't have it now, so I'll show it to you a little bit later when I have it. So I'll show you everything in the process. So what tools do we need for this bag? First of all, let's speak about additional. We'll need a needle, sewing needle with some thread and matching color matching to the cord that you're going to use, but if it is slightly different, it doesn't matter. So the seams will be invisible almost. You'll need some sewing pins a little bit later for sewing in the lining. And then you will need measuring tape, of course, some knitting markers, lightener, because you will have to melt the polyfier cord. It's impossible to sew it with the free end, it's better to melt it. Scissors, some darning needles, plastic or metal for sewing together the pieces, and crocheting hooks. So now as to the crocheting hooks, why do I have as many as 4? I usually prefer to experiment as I work and try out different ones, and I have a lot of examples when, notwithstanding the fact that some cord needs some crocheting hook, it's very personal, so you have to try it out. When you start working, try one hook, then change it to the other. So we will work the pattern with 7mm crocheting hook. So I recommend you to take the hook that has a sharp point. It's very important for this pattern because it will be easier for you to work with it. If you don't have a hook with sharp end, then you can just take an additional hook, a smaller one, number 5 for example, because in some areas where it will be difficult to pull the working thread through, you will just use your additional hook to pull it. Because sometimes to pierce it with the blunt hook will be difficult. So I don't recommend you to use number 5 for all the pattern, but you will make it too tight. So I recommend you to use 7, and only in some places where it will be difficult to pierce it, you can use a smaller one. Then here I have prepared 5.5 and number 6, 6.5, maybe if you have it. So you can try it, and maybe for your gauge, not number 7, but some other color will be better. So here it's up to you, make a sample, try different sizes for your gauge, which will be better. So we will start working our bag with such piece. It can be either front side or the back side, they are the same. You see I have already made one. I will also add here trimming. I just wanted to show you the finished look. Here we have left places for lurises. So now we will start, we'll make one more piece like this, because you need to make 2. Then we will do the trimming around them and the sides and so on. So before you start working the front and back pieces, I recommend you to make a sample. So try making a sample, cast on 10 stitches, make a sample of this pattern as now I will show you. And while you make sure that you understood how to make it right with a flat cord, I'll tell you how to make stitches so that it looks better. And when you get used to this pattern, get used to this flat cord, then you can start working your main piece. So now I will start making the piece and you will start making your sample, and then make the piece front and back pieces. So before we start, I prefer to melt a little bit like this to stop it from fraying. Just press it like this a little bit. So we take our 7mm crocheting hook, leave a small free end. So first loop, for the newbies I'll show how to make the first loop. Put the short end on top of the long like this. You see here the short one is in front. Insert the hook from behind and here, pay attention, I fix the hands like this. I have tension of the working thread here on my finger, and then I fix it, hold this loop that I have made, first loop, not the first loop but the preparative one, and then I turn the hook so that this nose looks here, yeah, the part that's going to grab the working thread, under the working thread, under it, and pull it through. Tighten this one. This was our preparative loop. We do not count it as the first, so it's a 0 stitch, so to say. Now I'll tell you how we cast on with this flat cord and how to count it. So again, here I recommend you to make a sample. So just cast on 10 loops and stop, and make a sample for yourself. Make 5-6 rows just to make sure that you can make this pattern right. So I start making the piece, and you now start making the sample, and then you can undo it and start making the piece together with me. And then you can start working according to the calculations that I'll tell you. So I will cast on 35 stitches plus 1 stitch for the lifting chain, so 36 in total. Here we do not stretch it too much, don't make them loose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So, ready. Now, I'll tell you how we count. We do not count this knot at the beginning because this was our 0 loop. We start counting these V shapes with braids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. This one on the hook we do not count. It's not a stitch yet. So 36 chains. Now we are going to work the single crochets, and we're going to work them into the upper half loop here, into each upper. You see, this will be the upper half loop and the one under it will be the lower half loop. So here on top you will have these upper half loops. So first one we skip, where we see this loop that's on the hook, we skip it always. It's not a stitch that we can count. Insert the hook under the upper half loop like this, grab the working thread, and here try to get used to make it straight. So make sure it's not twisted, it's flat on the hook, and then you grab it like this, it's still flat, and the yarn over and pull through. This is a single crochet. So next, upper half loop here, insert the hook and pull the working thread here, yarn over and 2 together. That's one more single crochet. Insert the hook, pull the working thread, Now here you have to make a longer loop here to avoid the hole between them. So you make this one bigger, and then you will have no openings between the stitches. And this on the hook you make smaller, vice versa. So next you insert the hook, make this loop bigger a little bit, yeah? Not too much, of course, but a little bit bigger than the loop on the hook. And so like this, you go on working till the end of your row, making a single crochet in each next upper half loop. So if you are a newbie and you haven't worked with this cord, be careful, don't skip the loop, because if you skip, then you will get the wrong number of stitches, and in the result you will not get the right number. So at the end, when we have made the first row, we'll show you how to count and make sure that you have the amount you need. And even if you are not a newbie, I recommend to count the stitches one time. So for example, when I made the first part and I have made a mistake, and then I had to undo a lot of work just because I stopped counting. So better count and make sure you have the right amount of stitches. And so go until the end of this row, making single crochets, and at the end I'll show you how to go to the next row and how to count the stitches. So I have made 34 single crochets. Now I have the last one left, 35. That's our last braid. You remember, we don't count the knot here. And under the upper half loop, make a single crochet. And so first row is ready. How we count? We can count single crochets by these V shapes, by these braids, because it's difficult to count it here. Sometimes they are hidden, like the first one here. So we count it on top here. 1, it's the first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Yeah, that's right. So this one we don't count. Loop is not a stitch. I'll insert the hook again. Now we need to make a chain to start a new row. We always make a chain. It's a lifting chain to start a new row. So just take this and make one more. Then you turn your work, and now we start working our main pattern, which we are going to use on both sides, front and back. Here we skip this stitch and we start into the next. Here insert the hook under these two half loops. Two, you see them, two, yeah? This back half loop and upper. So now we have the wrong side of the work. That's why I say it's back half loop. Now it looks like front half loop, right? So now it's important to have a sharp hook so that you can easily pierce it. Pull the working thread through, make sure it's not twisted here. Here it's neither twisted like this. And then pull through one and through the second. So I show it for you slowly. Of course, to make sure it's not twisted, it will take your time, but it will make it much better. So I recommend you take your time and make sure your cord is not twisted. So again, we insert the hook under these two half loops and then pull the working thread. Make sure you haven't twisted it, make a longer loop here, make a yarn over and pull it through. What's important, don't make it tight. Don't make these stitches tight, otherwise you will have openings between the stitches and it will be difficult to work the next row. or you'll need to use a smaller hook, and this will influence your size. So again, you need to make a sample and understand what number of a hook you need for your gorge. So insert the hook again upwards, pull the working thread, like this. Make sure you haven't twisted the cord and make a single crochet. And so like this we go on working till the end of this row, and that's our pattern. It's just peculiar in the way that we insert the hook from below upwards. You see, the cord starts twisting, so you need to make a straight first, and you'll need to keep an eye on it. Make sure you haven't twisted it, because otherwise it will be very difficult to work. So how I make it, I'll show you like this. I hold it like this in the air without taking off the hook, because the hook will be holding the loop and will not let it come off. So here, hold it in the air and untwist it, untwist it. So now you have again straight cord and you can go on working. So like this, insert the hook, pull the working thread and make a single crochet. Like this you work till the end of this row, working all the time into these 2 half loops. So now when you make about 6 rows, you will see the pattern. So at the end of the second row, I'll show you how we make the last stitch, 1 before last, and then the last stitch, this one, we have these 2 half loops, yeah, last 2 half loops, and then we have this knot, this little corner. So we insert the hook into this last 2 half loops, as usually, and then into this corner we'll also make a stitch. It's just in the first row it doesn't look clear, and then you'll be able to see it better. So here you make a longer, even longer loop, and again check how many stitches you have got. Count it on top, you will have 35. So I will work this row together with you, and then you will count on your own. So we start counting here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. So, and now again we make a chain, a lifting chain, always when we start a new row. And we start the third row. The rows we can count 1, 2. Now I will tell you it will be easier to count when you have a little bit more. So we start the third row. On the third row we will make 2 increases at the beginning and at the end of work. So I'll show you how we do this and where we do these increases. Increase, I will make it once here into the first stitch. Under these 2 half loops we'll need to make 2 stitches into one opening, 2 stitches. So insert the hook here. As always, you have skipped the first, insert the hook in the second, and make 1 single crochet. Now under the same half loops here, you see it's the same half loops, you make the second one. And then we go on working just 1 single crochet under each 2 half loops. So we continue the same pattern. You can see them clearly, so the same pattern, the same 2 half loops under which we make our single crochets. I think that there's nothing difficult in it. Like this. And so we go working till the end of the row. Just stop several stitches before the end. I'll tell you how we make our next increase at the end of the row. So I have almost finished this row. We have 1, 2, 3 stitches left. So here we'll make one more single crochet. Here I will make an increase. So again, you remember we make 2 single crochets into 1. And so 2 into 1, that's then an increase, and the last stitch into the corner, don't forget about it. Insert the hook here under these 2 half loops and make one more stitch. Make one lifting chain and turn the work and go to the next row. So we have already done 3, 1. Due to this braid you can't see it, but it is the first one, then the second and the third. And so one row will be a bit lower because of this braid, and the other will look a little bit wider. First, second, third. We start the fourth. We have made a lifting chain, so we turn the work and go on. So in this row we will also make 2 increases. Likewise, as we already did in the third and fourth, we make increases. So we make increases into the first stitch. One, and the second here. And then we go on working as we usually do. So don't forget that you have to make sure that your cord isn't twisted, so don't forget about it. So we go until the end of the row, we'll make the increase together. So now we have almost finished the fourth row. You will make 1, now we make an increase here. And in the corner we don't forget to make the last stitch. So now you have made 2 increases in 2 rows. So now we will have in this row in total not 35 but already 37, yeah, because you have made 2 increases, and in the fourth row it will be plus 2, 39. So if you have made everything right, you will have 39 stitches. And be careful, because of increases you will get such a little wave here. Just don't forget the first one. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 37, 38, 39, yeah, 39, that's right. So it's easier to see the rows because between each 2 rows you will get such a line. So you can see that you have made, on this side it's even easier, I think, to see, because here we have pairs. We can count 1 pair, 2 pairs, and so like this. So now we have to make a lifting chain, and in the 5th row we will go on working without increases, just make 39 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and we continue like this till the end without increases, and then we will start next row. So let's continue here. We're going working without increases. Don't forget about the last stitch in the corner. And now we start the 6th row. And count, you will have 39 stitches. So turn your work, and the 6th row, again we will have increases at the beginning and at the end of the row, into the first and one before the last stitch. First here and yeah, the one before the last, that's right. So here we start into the 2nd, and in 1 we make 2, then we continue working till the end of the row. At the end again we will make 41 single crochets in this row. We will count it at the end. And so we go on working till the end. Now I have almost finished this 6th row, and now one before the last stitch I will make an increase. One, 2, and last into the corner. So we have 6 rows. Let's count them. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Here we will have 41 stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. Yes. And now we will start the 7th row. Starting from the 7th to 15th row, we go on working without any increases. So in each row we'll have 41 stitch. And you work them on your own. I recommend you to mark with a marker this 7th row so that you don't forget where you have stopped making increases. This will help you to count. So make several stitches of a new row and then insert the marker into the 7th row. So starting from the 7th to the 15th row, you go on working without increases. Make it till 15th row, and then I'll meet you again. and I'll show you what we do next. So now I have made 15 rows. Starting from the 7th, I made no increases, as you remember. And here you will have 41 stitches in each row. So let's count it on top here, starting with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. You see, I have already made a lifting chain, so now we make a lifting chain and turn our work. 16th row, we will make 2 decreases, as we did increases at the beginning, at the end of the row. Here we will do decreases. So the decrease looks like this. We insert the hook the same under the first 2 half loops, make this loop, but you do not finish the single crochet, you insert it into the next, and again make 1 loop, and now you have 3. You work them all together, that is decrease. From 2 stitches you have made 1. Then you go on working single crochets till the end of this row, but at the end you stop 3 stitches before the end. I'll show you how we make the decrease at the end of the row. So at the end of the row, here we have 3, and we make 1, but don't finish it, insert it into the next. Now you have 3 loops on the hook, work them together. Out of 2 you have made 1, and now you will make last stitch. Don't forget about the stitch straight in the corner. Now lifting chain, turn your work, and we have made 2 decreases, so we have again 39, and then on the 17th row we make 3 rows, so 17, 18 and 19 we'll make without increases. So we just go on working this amount of stitches. You can work it on your own, 3 rows. I'll show you the beginning. And I want to tell you one important thing. Here where you have the decrease, you have these 3 half loops. So I'll take a smaller crocheting hook, number 5 millimeters for example, so that it's easier to go through all these 3 half loops, pull the thread, and then I change the hook again, and again work single crochets without any increases or decreases, but at the end again you will take hook number 5 and make 3 together with a smaller hook, and then again change it and work with it. And like this we work 3 rows without any increases or decreases, and we'll meet later. Then we will count our rows and continue. So we have already made 19 rows. Now let's see, it's easier to count them pairs. So now you can see between 2 rows you have this braid, this horizontal line that you can see really clearly. So you can count the rows of stitches. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 18, and then the 19th is here. And so we start the 20th row. Here we also have 2 decreases. We do them all the same as we did before. So we insert the hook here, and without finishing we insert it into the next, and then make 3 together. And so we go on working till the end of the row, thus making this pattern. At the end we again make a decrease, and I'll show you how I make the decrease. At the end of the row we also make a decrease, so we stop 3 stitches before the end. One, two, and the last stitch. So here you will have 37 single crochets, so check whether you have 37. And we can start the next 21st row. Again, 21st, 22nd and 23rd we work without decreases. So I take smaller hook if I have to go through 3 half loops here, like this, and then go on as we usually do. So 21st, 22nd and 23rd we go on working without decreases. By the way, I can now take it off. We don't need this marker anymore. And so we make 3 more rows. So we have made 23 rows without any increases or decreases. I mean last 3, yeah? Last 3 without decreases or increases. So we have 23 in total. In this last row we will have 37 single crochets. So you can count them again. I turn the work, 24th row. Here we'll make 2 decreases at the beginning and at the end of this row, as we usually do. And we will also make 25th. There we'll make a decrease in the middle of the row. That will be later. Oh, we'll be starting the parts for the handles. So go on working till the end, and here we stop 3 stitches before the end. We make these 2 together. Into the corner, and so now we have 25th row where we'll make a decrease in the middle of the row. So now together with all these decreases we have 35 stitches. To make a decrease in the middle you need to count in the center, towards the center, 17 and 18 and mark it with a knitting marker. So let's take several markers and then make them 2 together like a decrease. So now let's count 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17. 17, I insert the marker into 17th stitch. So these will be stitches for the decrease, which I mark. So now we have made lifting chain, turned our work, And I'll take again a smaller hook so that it's easier to work here where the decrease was in the previous row. And so like this I go on working. Again, take my number 7 hook. And when you have reached this middle where you have the markers, we need to make 2 decreases. That is a decrease out of 2. So 1 stitch, and decreases we'll make here. So we won't need these markers, I can take them off. So I make this one but don't finish the stitch, make the second and finish them together. And then we go on working like we usually do. And then we will start making for the handles. So in the last 25 rows are ready. So now we will have 34 stitches, and now we will continue working these pieces for looverses. And now we start the 26th row, make a lifting chain, turn our work, and here we need to make the slightly higher pieces where we will attach the handle. So now we have to make first part. So we one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10. So I ran out of cord. I just take a new one. I don't join them. I'll explain later. I will insert the hook. So I will finish this stitch. And then I'll tell you what we do with those free ends. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, yeah, 12 stitches we have made. So now we'll make a lifting chain and turn our work. So these free ends that I have left here, I'll show you a little bit later. We will just hide them when we'll decide which side is going to be the right side, which side is going to be the wrong side. So you can burn it with lightener or you can sew it. I'll show you how to sew it to the base. I prefer to sew it. So here you can make it so that you won't even need the lining, it will look okay on its own. So for the time being, let's leave it. So this is the 26th row. Now you can insert a marker because it will help you to count. When you will have to count again, to make it easier, you can now insert the marker, and this will help you to start counting here. So next, 27th row. We make 1 decrease here at the beginning, so we make 1 and then like this until the end of the row. After this decrease, we go on working the stitches. Don't forget about this last one, last stitch into the corner. Make a lifting chain, turn your work. Then 28th row, we make 1 decrease at the end of this row in the same place into the last 2 stitches. We do this so that the edge is really nice. I'll take a smaller hook because here it will be difficult to work through these 3. And into the corner. Make a lifting chain and turn our work. Now we'll make 29th row. We will make decreases at the beginning and at the end. Together these 2, that is a decrease, and then we go on till the end of the row and make a decrease here. Here where one before the last is, and here we'll just make a stitch. So here 26, 27, 28, 29. Now we make 1 decrease at the beginning of this row, and here also we need to change the hook for a smaller one. Now that is the 30th row, and then we go on working without increases. Make a lifting chain, 31st and 32nd row we work without increases, without decreases. That is the 31st, lifting chain, start 32nd, and 32nd again without decreases. Here, don't forget about the last one into the corner. Make a lifting chain. Now 33rd row. In the 33rd row, first we will make 2 single crochets, and then according to our pattern. We do not make these 3. We have to leave them out. Instead, we cast on 4 chains. Pay attention, 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. And make last 2 stitches. 1, 2. So, of course, when you will go on working, you have to measure your louvers to make sure that they will fit. So, you can fit it like this. If you stretch this, you need to get the right size for the louvers to be inserted. So, if you cannot stretch it enough, then you have to make, for example, bigger, or make the loops looser, yeah, to give some space, or you have to make 1 stitch more. So make sure here you have the right size. So now we start again with lifting chain and make the 34th stitch. So here we go like this. And the second stitch, I insert the hook here inside this opening. So you can see here we have this braid, and I insert it under these 2 half loops like this. And now make a single crochet. Then next stitch, next 3 stitches we inserted here, we make them into the upper half loop, just the upper half loop. We do this so that here you have enough of fabric so that you can insert your louvers. So here we make 3 stitches only into the upper half loops and leave the lower half loop for, and then we make 2 single crochets. Here we don't make it, we have already done it here and here, so 2 single crochets. Make a lifting chain and we turn our work. So here, as you see, we have about ½ millimeter wider. So this we can fix when we'll be making the trimming. We will just add a little bit here so that we make it the same on both sides. On one side we'll make it tighter, on the other we'll make it a little bit looser, so it will make the same. So the last row, 35th row, here we make a decrease here and here at the beginning and at the end, as we did before. So make a decrease here, and a decrease here. And that's it. This piece is ready. And we have an opening for installing the handle. So now we go to the next. Here we can cut this free end, by the way. Leave a small end. This free end I will hide behind several stitches for the time being, then I will sew it later. So all these free ends that you have left here, we will just work them into the trimming, and this one here inside we will sew to the base. So now we start working on the other piece, on the other handle part. So I have turned the work, as you see. So we finished like this on this side, and now I have turned it to the other side. We have to start working here. For this we'll take a new cord and we will count here as if you've made 12 stitches. So counting with this one, this corner stitch, yeah, that will be 1, because we make a stitch here also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Into the 12th stitch I put a marker, but we will start, we take a new cord and we will start 1 stitch before it. So 1 stitch before the marker we start it and make a loop. Now we have started it right, and now we can go on working like we did on the other side. So we make 12 stitches, 12 single crochets. 1, 2, this free end we will leave, we will sew it later together. 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We make a lifting chain and turn our work. So this was 26th row. As you remember, here I will not put a marker here because I see marker on the other side, or you can put a marker to mark the 26th. Now we start 27th row. Here we'll have to make 1 decrease at the end of the row. So I'll show you where we make it, but till the end of the row we make single crochets, So when you have reached almost the end, here you can make a decrease in these 2 stitches, for example. Let's have a look. If I make it here and then here, last 2 stitches, I'll make a decrease. So I make 1 stitch but don't finish it, and then I make the second one and make them all together. So here we'll make a lifting chain, and let's have a look how it will be on the right side. So here I think it's right. Yeah, I think I'll leave it like this. So on the 28th row we'll make 2 decreases at the beginning and at the end of the row. So we make a decrease here, then we have finished the end and we make a decrease at the end of the row, and then make 1 more stitch here. Lifting chain, turn your work, and 29th row we will make 1 decrease at the end of the row. And so here we have last 2 stitches. I make it with a smaller hook so that it's easier. 1, 2, and together. And lifting chain, turn our work. So on the 30th row we go on working 1 decrease here at the beginning of the row. So now we turn our work. 31st and 32nd we work without any increases, without decreases, just make the single crochet. And here you work it on your own. And now I've finished the 32nd row. Make a lifting chain, turn our work, and we start this part where we have to make the opening. 33rd row. So we make 2 single crochets, then we skip 3 stitches, we cast on 4 chains above them, and then here we make 2 single crochets again. So let's work together. 2 single crochets, 1, 2, then we cast on 1, 2, 3, 4, we skip 3 stitches, and again make 2 last single crochets, 1 and 2. Here you will also see that sides on the right and on the left from the opening are different, but we'll cover it when we make the trimming. Turn our work. I have made lifting chain. Now we make 1 stitch here, then 1 stitch into this opening before the chain. Then we make 3 stitches into the upper half loops of the chain, so that we have some edge for the reverses. 3, skip this one, and make 2 single crochets that are left. 1, 2. So here I leave it free so that it's soft, it's stretchable, and you can insert it here and attach the handle. Make a lifting chain, turn our work, and the last row, 35th, we make with 2 decreases here and here, at the beginning and at the end of the row. So let's work together. The first one, and the second, that is a decrease. So now both sides are ready. One base is ready. Here we can cut this. So when you have made 2 pieces, they are the same. They have slightly different size, several millimeters difference, because one can be tighter, so you can stretch it a little bit to match the other. Don't worry, it's elastic, so you can stretch it a little bit. Now choose the right side. I suppose to make right side this, where you have markers on the left, here where we have started making the first part of the handle. So where you have pairs, and you can start counting at the bottom, 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on, this will be the right side. It's easy to see it. Let's make it our right side, and the other side will be our wrong side. Now I'll show you how we can sew in these 3 ends into the back, and then we'll be doing the trimming. So now you can take off the markers, we don't need them anymore. If you do not see right from wrong side, you can just put some marker here to mark your right side. But any side can be right side, because it's double-sided pattern, they're absolutely the same. So first I will hide them so that it repeats the general pattern, so that you cannot see it. Here, for example, I will pull this thread in this direction so that it will repeat this like kind of braid pattern. And this free end, I have to try to hide it here to imitate the stitch that's next to it. Likewise here. And like this. Yeah, you see? It looks like it was here, like one of the half loops, and also covered this opening. So now we turn it to the wrong side, and here on this side we can just hide them behind several stitches on the wrong side. Just pull them in this direction. Here I have tightened it too much. like this will be okay. Yeah, so it's neither too tight nor loose. And maybe one more, and now we can sew it. I will show you one free end, how I sew it to the base, and so that you can sew all your free ends if you like to hide them. I take some thread in matching color and just sew in needle. I don't make a knot, I just take this thread, I pierce it through the base like this several times back and forth to fix it in the base, in the knitted base, yeah. And make sure that this free end is inside under the stitches where you have pulled it. And now you make several stitches in different directions, here and there. Make sure that your needle goes through the cord that you are sewing, yeah, this free end that you are sewing. So you fix it in place after you have sewn it, so you can make it almost seamless if you pierce very close to the place where you have come out, and then even if you have a thread that's slightly different, you can hide it inside so that it's almost invisible. I do not cut the free end, I will cut it now when I have fixed it properly. I just cut it totally. And these free parts, this cut that I have just made, I will sew several times more. So several stitches will do to keep it in place. One more, and here exactly into the cut to make sure it will stay there. Okay, that's all. Now I can cut this thread, and so like this you repeat with all the free ends that you need to hide on the wrong side. You see it's absolutely invisible where you have sewn them. So you sew these free ends that you have inside. Maybe if you ran out of a thread, you might have them somewhere in the middle. These free ends that you have on the outer corner, we will hide when we make the trimming, and then we'll sew them. And then I'll tell you how we do the trimming. So now I have sewn all the free ends that I had on this side. You can see them. This free end I will also hide along the edge, so that when I do the trimming I can hide it properly. You can start making the trimming where you like. I would rather start it from the middle of the bottom, somewhere here. I think it's easier to hide the free ends then. As to the hook, here you need a somewhat smaller one. It can be number 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters, or 7. I'm going to use number 6 millimeters. So here it doesn't matter really which one you use, just try which will be easier for you to use for the trimming. Here we'll leave a small free end. We can hide it along the edge as we go, we'll hide it at once. So the trimming is really easy. You do it into the upper half loops, these ones, these openings that you can see like this. In each of these openings we insert the hook and make a slip stitch. So you don't have to start in the center, just start somewhere on the bottom. Pull the working thread like this, make a loop, now make a chain. That's your start. Now you hold this free end along the edge, don't make it too tight here. And here we go on working neither too tight nor loose. You put this free end along this edge, you will work around it and hide it at the same time. So next, insert into the next opening, pull your working thread, hold this free end inside so that you work around it, And now you have 2 loops on the hook, you make a single crochet. And like this you go on working all the trimming all around the back. Like this, you see that free end remains inside this stitch and thus you hide it. So I make the trimming rather puffy. I prefer when it's like this, so I don't make it tight. And also make sure that your cord's not twisting. It's very important that the cord lies flat and nice, not twisted anywhere. So like this we add this row of trimming all around the bottom, the side, the handle, and on the corners of the back here you will have increases. To make trimming better, we will make 2 single crochets into 1. So this free end we will sew later, so you can leave it like this. We have hidden it, and then we will sew it to the base on the wrong side. So we work till the corner. I will now show you how we go on the corner, and then you can continue on your own, because it's not difficult. You just make 1 single crochet in 1 opening, that's it. Here what we see, that we have a corner here, so I will make 1 stitch here. Let me see. We make 2 single crochets into 1, and into the same opening make 1 more single crochet. That will be our increase, which will allow us to make a nice corner. So now we go around here. We need to make a single crochet into each these openings between the rows. Yeah, you see here we have these openings between the rows. Into these openings it's a little bit difficult, it's more difficult than before, but you can still see them. You just need to make a stitch between each rows. If you see 2 rows, then between them you make a stitch. Next 2 rows, between them you make a single crochet. So into each next row you make 1 single crochet. So let's start here. Next opening here, then next 2 rows, I make a big trimming so that it's almost 1 centimeter wider, maybe a bit less than 1 centimeter, but 8 millimeters for sure. So here I don't make it tight. Like this. And so you go on working the trimming like this till the upper part, all the way of this till this point, and here I will show you how we do this top. So now you see that I have made it almost to the top. Now we have this narrow part which we're going to adjust the handle to. So we need to make this distance the same. Don't forget that we need to make it the same according to the trimming, due to the trimming that is. So here we'll make it a little smaller, that is a little tighter on this side. You see, I go tighter and I make loops smaller this way. And so we work till this loop. Then there will be braids, so we need to turn our work, and here we will be making stitches into these 2 half loops, 2 upper half loops. This we will make with slip stitches. So we make a loop and at once through the loop on the hook. So I decided here you can make a single crochet if you like, but I decided to make it slip stitches because I want to make it just more firm, thicker upper part, because here you will attach the handle. You just want it to be a little bit firmer. And due to these slip stitches, it will be kind of double, you see, yeah, double, and it will be stronger in this place. Here, this free end you can tighten a little bit. It might come off. So now, next stitch will be here. And here we need to make single crochets again. Yeah, so we start making single crochets again. And here we have to make this space bigger. Yeah, on this side of the opening we need to add. If on the other side we tried to make it smaller, here we try to make it bigger. So I make looser stitches, not so tightened. And I work around this free end, as you see, it's inside the stitch, so that I can hide it nicely. And you see now there's same space on the right and on the left of the opening. So just these 3 stitches, I made them a little bit looser. So now when you look at it, you see that it is the same here and here. And so we go on working. And we go on working with single crochets as we did before this top part. Here we don't make it loose, don't make it tight, so we work like we usually do. And we make them into each opening between 2 rows. Here you have a bigger space, so here I'll make 2 because it's also a corner. So that you make a nice rounding here. Here we have such an invert rounded line. One more here. So, and here this little free end I will sew it to the wrong side. And now we go on working into the upper half loop here. Yeah, and we go on working single crochets, but into the upper half loop. So you see that we get such a nice rounded line, which looks very neat compared to the line that was before it. So that is important to make this look finished. So we go on working like this in this horizontal line. And here also like this. Now here I would rather make 2 stitches here into this, so to say, rounded corner. Now I will have a look whether it looks okay, because I want to get a nice symmetrical line. So you need to make, first of all, the same size, and second, make it symmetrical. With amount of stitches, with the size of the stitches, you try to make these symmetrical, the same on both sides. Because here you can correct it, even if you see that somewhere it's smaller or bigger, you can correct it with this trimming. So now we have almost reached this place where we'll have to do slip stitches again, and we remember that here on this vertical side we need to make first tighter on this side, and then when you reach the top you start making slip stitches instead of single crochets here under this braid, and here start making slip stitches under this upper braid, turn your work, and now go on working, remembering that here you have to make this distance bigger on purpose, so you make looser stitches, don't make them tight. So we'll see, just a second. Then you can go on working with your ordinary gauge. Let's check how it looks, whether the distance is the same. Here and here, opening for the loosenesses, and it will be absolutely okay. So like this, you continue working. Here on the corner you make 2 stitches into this corner. I'll show you how we make it here, and then you go till the point where we have started. There's nothing difficult in it, so work to this point and we'll meet. So here at the corner, you see here we have such a difficult stitch, is where we have started our work. I just make it 1, and let's have a look, what do we have here and where can we make an increase here. Let's have a look. So I think that I don't want to make it here because there is a big opening. Okay, let's try here. Let's try to make 2 single crochets into this opening. Let's have a look whether it will be symmetrical. So I'll make several stitches along this side and compare it with the other side. If it will look symmetrical, then I'll leave it, or if not, then I'll have to. So let's have a look at these corners, how they round. Yeah, it's okay. I think it looks the same on both sides, so we can leave it like this. So we can now continue working to the point where we have started our work. At this point I'll show you how we do a nice full slip stitch. So when you have almost finished, make several last stitches. Last stitch will be here, and here is already the first stitch that we have made when we began our trimming. So then you need to pull it a little bit longer, cut this free end, and make a full slip stitch to create one more loop like all the rest, so that you can join your work in the round. So you insert the hook from the wrong side into this first horizontal braid that you can see, insert the hook under it like this, pull the cord, and now you need to return it into the stitch where you have started it. So here you need to insert it. So you insert the hook from below upwards like this into the braid and pull it to the other side. With this free end we can sew it, hide it first behind several stitches on the wrong side, and then sew all the free ends that you have left. Now you can sew them to the base. So you need to make 2 pieces like this. Now this part is complete. The second part is absolutely the same, so you can return and watch the same video from the beginning, and then we will start making the sides.